Hello, everyone. Yay. I hope you enjoyed ABL 20. I will be joined this evening with Jabari Graham, founder, as well as we have a special guest this evening, Dr. Federa Haley, ethnomusicologist from Juilliard. So this is a wonderful moment.
That's Bill. Bill is a director. Bill. So.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
This is a great moment, and this is such a full circle moment. Me and Federa are both, we would say, graduates.
Yes, alumni.
Alumni from ABL. We were part of the platform for podcasting before this was all as big as it is now. So Jabari, let's talk a little bit about the creation and what inspired you to take ABL on the road.
Well, it was really just being laid off at the time. So I used to work for Universal Circus, and I needed to do something to get my name out there. So my name wasn't hitting on anything. It wasn't no LinkedIn at the time. Facebook was not hitting on where it is today. So I needed to do something to amplify my name. So I learned a lot of promoting and activations from working with the circus. So I was like, yo, let me just try to do something that I like. I like art, I like hip hop, I like graffiti. So let me just try to put it together and amplify my name. Little did I know that that first show was gonna take me to like 20 years to today. So I took a risk on myself. I'm glad I did that. But I looked at it like, just on the film, like what Les Brown said, I was like 23 or 25, so I could either look for a job or create a job. So worst case scenario, I could just go back to my mom's crib, but I just took a risk and it worked out. So to answer your question, I needed to do something to get my name out there because my resume wasn't hitting on nothing, and I needed to figure it out, and it kind of worked out. Being an entrepreneur, little did I know.
It definitely did work out, and it worked out for 20 years. So you did more than make it work out. So during the tour and setting up the tour, were there any unexpected discoveries, insights that happened during the touring and as well as the filmmaking process?
Yeah, I mean, during the tour, it's always gonna be uh-oh moments. Just like right now, it's raining, and you gotta have a rain plan to weather that storm. But it's just learning how to have that plan B or plan C, and you take it to the next event or the next thing that you're doing. Now, as far as the filmmaking process, I want to let Bill talk about that part. But yeah.
No, I'd say like the biggest surprise, and it was actually a good surprise, was just realizing how expansive their community was. I originally came into this just thinking it was going to be kind of like a very artist-centric, kind of just following them around like as they paint and stuff. And then as I was spending more and more time in Atlanta and just being in the warehouse, just meeting more and more people and kind of just like, oh, I need to talk to them now, I need to talk to them. And it kind of just expanded into like what you see with this a much bigger cast than I planned on, but I think it helped the film and added some layers and made it more interesting.
So I'm glad that you mentioned something about the community of Atlanta. Atlanta has a very unique community in the art world. And I want to talk a little bit about the migration that happened right before, during, and after the Olympics. Can you discuss a little bit about how the creative community was affected by that and how it had a lot of impact to the growth?
Well, during the Olympics, I ain't gonna front. I was in Orlando. After my folks got divorced, I went to school in Atlanta, and then I spent my summers in Florida. So that one summer, I was in Florida, but a lot of my friends made a lot of money in 1996 in Atlanta, in the Olympics. But I think, like what Jason Orr said, that the community in Atlanta is very tight. The art community and the music community is tight. So, and I love Atlanta because it's just, it's a lot of black middle class. I mean, if it's poor or whatever, it's just a lot of good black folks there. So it just brings together tightness, and I don't know if I answered the question right, but that's, shit, kind of helps.
Do you have any insight, Dr. Haley?
I just want to say, like, it's amazing to be here. Like, I ain't supposed to be here. My flight was supposed to leave today. I'm supposed to be back in Brooklyn. And to walk in and to see AB+L on the stage and to run into you, I haven't seen you in a good minute, Jabari. And the thing about AB+L and about Jabari and about Atlanta, like, I remember the first AB+L because that was, like, I was in Atlanta at that time. And I remember talking to you in those early years about, like, how is this even happening? And it's so beautiful to see your film because you really do capture all that vibrance of the Atlanta artistic community, and one that a lot of people may not know about but has been in Atlanta for a long time. And so in the fact, someone says in the film that, like, what you created with AB+L, a lot of cities may never get something like that until you bring it. Like, if you live in New York, you live in Atlanta, you live in DC, you can take some of this for granted. And it's amazing watching it 20 years later because so much of what people like you, Jason Orr, folks like that pioneered is now just mainstream. It's just a part of the culture. But, like, there was a time where it was absolutely and we see it in how you made the film. That was absolutely revolutionary, which is why the people came out and showed up, and all the artists, the audience, and all of that. So, you really were one of those people in Atlanta, for me, who's part of the migration, not from Atlanta, right, who helped me find myself and find my way in that city. So shout out to you for that.
Appreciate it. FAMU. Thank you.
Jackson State.
Yes, and I will also say thank you because I remember it was just a conversation with me and you, and how the podcast started, and ATL Art Girls. The podcast ran for 2 years, and it was just a conversation. You were like, ATL Art Girls, you talk about art, blah, blah, blah. That's the show. And a week later, we were on air, so thank you for that.
No problem. Thank you.
So I wanted to, the party bus. Let's talk about the party bus. I love that scene because for me, I see it and I see a bus full of friends. And that has a lot to do with community in Atlanta. For everyone to jump on that bus and take that ride with you to make sure that Atlanta was present and that your show outside of Atlanta had a great presence. Talk about how those discussions went to get everyone to get on board with you.
It was easy. I think it was easy because we booked Masiki Scales and Common Ground Collective, which is like a Afrobeats Fela band. And just like Dub said, we needed, at the time, we didn't have a lot of money to fly everyone up. So we just rented a charter bus. And, it took care of them and their instruments. So we just put the word out for everyone to just come on. And then people just having fun, shooting dice, shit. They had a little pit stop, so they were, releasing and.
We had to censor that scene quite a little.
And one thing, it was
a lot more that
it was a lot of releases that we had to get, because we didn't know what people were, but we ended up getting a lot of releases signed so we can show that part in the film. But it kind of worked out. But I think it was a good time to kind of bring people up to those cities, at least the people from Atlanta, to check out the show in Atlanta. I mean, outside of Atlanta.
That's amazing. How can the documentary be used as a tool to educate and inspire future generations of artists and creators?
I think so by just, I think the story, the common denominator that I hear from people is like, it's very inspiring and just taking risks on things. So like, even if it's from, the youth or someone that's at a job and got this idea, like I said, the last part of the film, and they want to take a leap, just try that shit out. You never know what's gonna happen, because that shit worked out for me. I pitched it to a couple people. I got a lot of no's, but I got some yeses, and I'm still here, so and it kind of worked out, and hopefully I can help spread that word to other people, or at least make it contagious for other people to take a risk. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So ABL does have presence outside of just a tour. You also have space in VR. Let's talk a little bit about your VR space, because I did have a chance to view it in spatial. If you haven't had a chance to view it there, I would say that's the closest to experiencing it live. Give us a little insight on the creative process on how you built those different rooms and spaces in VR.
Yes. So we worked with a team out of LA, and we built this spatial platform that we can just show the whole exhibit in Oculus and on the iPhone and other devices. So it's just really just taking the artwork and kind of creating that same experience with music. There are some Jack Daniels type of elements in there, honey elements, but just taking that same element and just put it in VR and that space with technology. It's all right. It's pretty cool.
So in the filmmaking process, how was it for you to access, older footage to actually add into this film?
Well, that's a process that it involves a lot of people. We definitely there's a scripting process that kind of is happening concurrently as I'm shooting, where I'm kind of mapping out what I need and how the film's going, and you kind of keep track of the different visuals that you would like to go for, and then you have your editor and you have your archival producers. You kind of have to go find that stuff, and a lot of cases it's tracking down, especially for them, it's like tracking down the artists and tracking down people who actually film this stuff. So it's definitely, it's a bit of like a treasure hunt kind of for a lot of these things, because even once you get the footage, you need to find who owns it and you have to clear it. So there's a lot of things that I wish we could have put in there aren't there. There's a lot of cool stuff that came last minute where I was like, thank you, we got this shot. So, but ultimately I'm happy with what we came away with.
I think you did a great job of capturing the moment.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the long-term goals for Art Beats and Lyrics. What should we look for next?
Well, this Friday we're gonna be in Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan. So we do have that show coming up. But long term, I hope to take it out of the country. Like I love South Africa. I want to take it abroad. So hopefully that can work out, because I love seeing how people react to the show in different states, but I want to see how it happens out the country and try to get that love and that support. So hopefully we can make that happen in the future.
Yes, you will. Yeah. That will happen.
Let's manifest that.
Yeah, we're just going to put it out there. That's going to happen. So, and the last question, what do you hope viewers will take away from watching this documentary?
Man, just the same thing. Just take risks, man, and take risks, and don't be afraid to live out your dreams, and I don't know, just try to make shit happen. So, what about you, Bill?
And also, just I think something that's important for me is just, and which I think is really actually inspirational on a real ground level, is just showing the reality of being an artist. I think a lot of people have the wrong idea that you're either starving or you're like a rock star, but there's a lot of different ways in the middle to make a living and be comfortable and enjoy yourself and have pride in what you're doing. So I hope the film kind of shows that.
And also I want to thank the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Fest for letting us screen this. So this is our third film screening, and I really fuck with this, man. It's really cool,
Yeah, thanks so much
for cursing. I ain't mean to curse.
Well, any other questions?
Nah, I just think it's really dope to have this accidental family reunion up here. And even though I know a lot of this stuff, having known you for so long, it's really amazing how you put it together. It feels very true to the experience of what Atlanta created, what Jabari, what you all have built and sustained for a long time. And I'm so mad I'm not going to be in New York on Friday. But thank you for letting me just come up and say what's up with y'all. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and staying for this conversation. thank you for being in attendance at the 22nd Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. We have a lot more programming that's going to happen. We're midway. We're only halfway there. So a lot of times I say it's a marathon. Yeah, so take your time, pace yourself, enjoy this space, and enjoy the rest of the festival. Thanks for joining us.